The following podcast contains spoilers for the gangster, the cop, the devil, but it doesn't contain an exaggeration of the importance of one scene. You have been warned!
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of KFR News Radio.
Yeah.
This is your host, Glenjamin Button, along with your host, Miguel Magusta.
That is myself.
Yeah.
How are you, Glenn?
I'm not bad. I'm slightly getting over the bronchitis a little bit, or bronchosaurus that's in my chest. Yeah. I don't know if it just naturally goes away. I should definitely go to a doctor still, but it's not as bad as it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
I mean, everything goes away naturally at some point if it doesn't kill you.
Yeah.
It might cause other things, but, you
Well,
know.
Here we are.
Actually, I'm not a doctor. I don't know if that's true. I feel like it's true because I am rarely sick and rarely need to go to the doctor. But
Same here, which is why I have not gone to the doctor. I just usually assume that it'll just go away on my own with my Thanksgiving body that I have.
It's a beautiful
I don't know what that
body.
means.
It's a beautiful Thanksgiving body, whatever it is.
Very luscious and bountiful.
So when you've been fighting this Brontosaurus Rex or Bronchisaurus, have you watched any movies that you would like to talk about?
I have not watched any movies. Last week I did talk about a little bit about how I've been starting up the Walking Dead series again. So in that week, I would like to announce that I have watched full 5 seasons in a week, which is not even a full week. That's what's crazy. I got that going for me. So
all I hear is that the Stonies are just crying about the time
they're straight up tears of blood. It's pretty sad. It's nice to catch up on the show. I remember obviously now all the reasons why I liked it. The first 3 seasons are some of the best TV, honestly. And then season 4 has its problems that it's paced weird. It's good. It's paced weird. Half the first season feels like it should be its own season, and the second half should be its own season as well.
Yeah.
And then I'm on season 5, and that's where I stopped watching. I don't remember where I stopped in season 5, but right now I'm caught up to where I was when I stopped watching. I'm trying to get up to Negan and where everybody stopped watching when a certain character dies.
They really, from my understanding, again, I stopped watching in season 2, but from what the rants I've heard about the series, they really only use Negan as a way to kill off characters whose contracts were up.
I mean, it makes sense.
And I mean, obviously, with everyone knows about Glenn, Stephen Young's character. Yeah. Sorry, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
I don't have an opinion about it either way. I was just really tired. That was the first big series that people spoiled all the time, so I just stopped giving a shit. Even people in my film school, which I was really, you think people who are in the film industry,
something would be sacred in that sort of place.
So I called people out left and right about that. Probably hated me, but whatever. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's 20 hours you could have. I'm kidding.
That's a lot. But yeah, I'm on season 5. I'm still going. I took a little break today. I didn't watch it because I want to start up the Last of Us series after the podcast. So, and I hear a lot of people are freaking the fuck out because they're like, it's going to be bad. It's going to be terrible. And apparently it's been super fucking accurate. And I won't know until I start watching it, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's I've seen screenshots of side by sides of in-game shit to compare to the actual scenes. It's kind of brilliant how well they're sticking to at least the background props and the costume design and how accurate they're getting behind that. I mean, I'll see tonight how it actually is, but I can't wait to get into that. But other than The Walking Dead, the only other thing that I've seen is The Gangster, the Cop, the Devil, which we shall get into in a moment. But Mike, what have you watched?
I've watched 7 movies. Well, 6.
That's not too
and
bad.
Started 6 and then started a Swedish miniseries from the 70s. The first one I watched is a potential Stoney nominee. We have yet to know for sure. RRR, which is an Indian movie. I read that it's not technically Bollywood, it's Tollywood, which is because India has so many different dialects and everything. They have different sects for the different languages, like different film industries for the different languages they speak. This one is not the one that is considered Bollywood, it's Tollywood. But RRR is a fucking wild ride.
Yep.
Possibly the best Bollywood movie I've seen, or Tollywood, sorry, best Indian movie. I'm just going to put it there, full stop. Best Indian movie I've seen. Really funny, really powerful. It's got all the tropes of Bollywood, Tollywood movies, Indian movies. But it was just so fun. It was a fun watch, and I'm excited for you to watch it should this be nominated for a Stoney.
It's been on the list ever since it was released at the end of 2020. I believe end of 2022. What's funny is, talking to my boss, I'm like, what's this new movie coming out, and why is it getting so much hype? He's like, oh, listen, this movie apparently is like the Avengers of air quotes Bollywood movies right now. This is got so much hype, and it didn't do that well in theaters because obviously the time that it was released was just kind of terrible. But
yeah, I think it was released in March or something like that.
Yeah, but it's crazy to see the hype that it's finally getting now that it's on Netflix, I think, right now.
Yeah, and it's also winning a bunch of awards right now.
Oh, yeah.
Which for me, who I love All Quiet on the Western Front, and I still love All Quiet on the Western Front more than this.
Yeah.
I was hoping that would win, but I think it's probably going to be this. But RRR, for those who want to know, it stands for Rise, Roar, Revolt, and it's essentially about like it's an exaggeration. They tell you it's an exaggeration. And also fabrication of how like the rise of independence from Great Britain started in India, but it's mainly a bromance, which is the best part. Like they are the two best friends that anyone could ever have. One of them looks like an Indian John Belushi, which I fucking love. Do you know which one I'm talking about? Because I
think so.
You can't. I can't unsee it. He looks like an Indian John Belushi.
I mean, I'll definitely know so when I start watching it for sure.
But like, my main problem with Indian movies is like the random musical breaks that are just jarring. This one, they happen very naturally, kind of like Hadir or the one we watched last year. And even Stree, the horror movie we watched, the musical breaks were kind of fluid. So, if the musical breaks are fluid, I like them.
It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, but it's just so funny. Probably not meaning to be funny, but it's just because of how wild it is. It's funny. It's not like jokes funny. It's just like that is absolutely fucking insane. It's kind of like a cartoon in a way. So. Yeah, I highly suggest people check that out. That is RRR. Really fast 3 hours, if I'm honest. It didn't feel like 3 hours.
That's good.
Yeah. So then I watched a movie that you abandoned me yet again for. I watched Plane. Yeah, no, it's fine. I'll just cry myself to sleep. As far as January movies go, it was fine. I enjoyed it. I'm never going to watch it again. I was talking to John Clark about it, and I said, it is better than Mathregan, but won't be as remembered as Mathregan because there's nothing like super memorable about it.
Yeah, or memeable.
Yeah. But it's a fine movie. Like, if you have time to kill, go see it.
That's crazy. I was actually thinking of going Thursday to go see it.
Oh, you fucker.
I'm not going to go see it. What do you...
When it comes on streaming and you have time to kill, I might suggest it. But, or, if you want to see a movie just to see a movie and nothing else is out. So that was Plane. Then I saw Speak No Evil, which is a Danish horror movie, which has mostly English as the spoken language because it is about a Danish family that while on vacation befriends a Dutch family. So English is the shared language that they have. But it is a really good, well-made movie. that doesn't make any fucking sense, if that makes sense.
That does make sense, actually.
So like I loved everything about it except for like the whole thing is about it's a horror movie essentially based on social anxieties where like the main characters are afraid to say no to people even though they hate what's going on with the people that they should say no to. It's not something that would ever happen in the Northeast of the United States because we would just tell people to fuck off. And there comes a time where I feel like anyone who has ever loved a child would just be like, enough is enough, and then not let something happen. But that doesn't happen. But it's overall a solid film. I do think people should check it out. But it was based too much in reality, but then asked you to suspend disbelief too much, if that makes sense.
That's a tough pill to swallow.
Yes. But that was Speak No Evil. I do suggest it to people that like horror movies. Then I watched The Gangster Caught the Devil. We'll get into that in a minute. Then I watched Skinamarink. Yeah, I hate the name. This was a horror movie that was being hyped up because it was $15,000 Canadian budget, which is like $11,000 in US dollars for the budget.
Wow.
And it was getting a national release, but limited. Like in our area, it was only Friday and Saturday, 2 showtimes each day, and that was it. Other areas had different things. It really depended on the area you were in. And it's getting very mixed reviews. Like if you go on Letterboxd and look at the spread of reviews, it is all over the place. A lot of people
for
are
the
really
budget. I don't blame it.
Yeah. It's my big, like, I loved the concept of it, but I thought the execution was terrible.
Yeah.
Like, it's a $15,000 Canadian budget, $11,000. And looking at it and listening to it, I would believe if you told me it was made for $20. So I'm just like, the entire time I was just like, where did this budget go to? I feel like I've been ripped off. But like the concept is so great, and it was very artistic, which I commend them for that. But I wish it was just a traditional horror movie because the concept was fantastic, and it should have been treated as a traditional horror movie rather than an experimental film. I guess I commend them for making experimental film. The director and writer seems like a very nice guy, and I hope he gets a lot of success and everything. But I personally hated this movie. I'm not going to hold that against him. You know, not every movie's made for everyone, and there's enough people loving this movie. But I hated it because I felt like it was just a waste of $11,000 on his part. Yeah. Mainly because like you could tell the majority of the money went towards post production, and it's all bad. Like
how much
the
did it make back so far?
More than 11,000. I guarantee you. I don't know exactly how much is made, but yeah, that's Skinamarink. I do suggest people check it out. So like, don't listen to me, make your own opinion. But I hated it, and I'm curious to think what other people think. Then I rewatched The Menu because Caitlin hadn't seen it, and she wanted to watch something fun. And you know, I thought this movie was fun. She liked it, but she said it was creepy, and I was like, well,
you couldn't understand that.
I mean, yeah, but like I kind of realized that I have a very dark sense of humor because, like, to me, it's not creepy at all.
Yeah,
it's just like funny. Like it's outrageous what happens in The Menu. But yeah, The Menu. Then I started watching Ingmar Bergman's miniseries from the '70s, Scenes from a Marriage. I have that big old collection of Ingmar Bergman movies. I stopped watching after getting 7 films deep, just because this one was in the way, and I knew it was a long 5-hour miniseries. So I'm trying to get it out of the way so I can continue with that. And I'm 2 hours into it, 2 hours of the 5 hours. Really well paced. Like, it doesn't feel like 2 hours so far. So I kind of regret holding it off as long as I have. But that's Scenes from a Marriage. I'll let you know what I think of The Thing overall next week. That does it for what I've watched. So let's get into The Gangster, The Cop, The Devil.
자, 그날 밤에 있었던 일 나한테 싹 다 얘기해 보세요. 내가 그놈 잡아줄라니까.
야, 내가 잡는 게 빠를 것 같은데.
진짜? 얘기할까?
아니, 반장님 이거 진짜 큰 사건이에요.
어떤 미친놈 노폭 주먹을 찌릅니까? 그럼 확실하다니까. 연쇄살인범. 그런다니 칼이나 처먹고 다니는.
어떻게든 찾아와.
찾아오라 그래!
너 원하는 게 뭐냐?
너 그냥 나한테 정보 다 넘기고 조폭답게 네 일이나 해.
A crime boss teams up with a cop to track down a serial killer.
I love concise synopses. Synopses?
Synopsis?
Synoops?
Synopsis, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Directed by Won Tae-lee, written as well. Stars Ma Dong-seok, Jeon Bae-soo, Mu Yeol Kim, Kim Song-kyu, and Hugh Dong-wan. I'm going to stop there before it gets too crazy. So yeah, we were like, hey, we just saw a Korean film. Why not see a Korean film? And that's what we're going with, damn it. So this was in the little watch list for a couple of months now. I saw a TikTok of Ma Dong-seok's character interacting with this young girl and just being a genuinely nice guy, giving it an umbrella, and then just finding out the worst thing happened to her. She got robbed, and I won't say of what. And
You're not wrong.
And just the scene that follows afterward is his pure rage, and then just kind of storms out. What I hate about that TikTok specifically is that in this movie it felt like it didn't matter as much, and
that's what I was getting at in the beginning.
Yeah. And we'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, freaking the gangster, the cop, the devil.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised at how much I enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what to expect other than that scene, obviously, that I watched. There's something that I want to say that could be said, and I'm going to say it. That I feel like somehow we get like movies like this, I feel like all the time here in the U.S., but I feel like watching it in the South Korean version of any of these movies that we have at all times, I feel like they can put a twist on it or just put a personality on it that makes it so much better than any of the shit we're getting here.
Yeah.
And like, you could honestly, there's probably like 50 of these movies being made here, but like this one just stands out, and it's just fun. The characters are great, the actors are phenomenal, the costume design is great. I never want to take a punch from Ma Dong-seok at all.
Oh yeah.
Because he's an absolute powerhouse in this.
Oh yeah.
If you've watched the Eternals, people, he's a big dude and he fucking hits hard. In this movie, he's a normal ass dude and he hits absolutely hard.
Yeah.
Like you feel it throughout this whole movie. I don't know. This movie was just really just fun, thrilling. You felt like the stabs, the punches, and all that stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. Going back to Ma Dong-seok, I first saw him in Train to Busan. He plays like the husband, I wouldn't say overly protective, accurately protective husband who knows he could beat your ass of a pregnant woman. And he is such a badass in the movie that I kind of just like loved him as an actor immediately. Because he has the presence of like an 80s action star, but actually has good acting chops, unlike, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Sylvester Stallone. Not that they're bad, but like he's a legitimately good actor.
They eat up their scenes and all that. And
exactly. And when the serial killer accidentally marks him to kill him, when I saw that, I was like, if I were that serial killer, just looking at him, I would walk the other way.
Yeah, honestly, I would just take the insurance claim. I'd be like, you know what? Let's take the pictures, exchange some insurance. Let's just separate ways here.
Even then, he just says, "Don't worry about it." So like you got off scot free. But because he's a cocky serial killer, he's like, "Oh, I'm going to kill this guy." He's like, "No, this guy, he's going to kill you." Or
the only thing you're killing right now is your ego, buddy.
Yeah,
holy shit.
But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. I thought it was really well made. The weird thing is, this is kind of a little story in me watching it. This is on like every free app you can imagine. Freevee, Tubi, Plex, Crackle, all those things, Pluto. I tried watching it on 3 apps before I could get it. I first started with, I think, Crackle, and it started playing, but it didn't have subtitles. But then when I would turn on the subtitles, it would switch to a completely different movie.
That's weird.
Yeah, it was really weird. And then I just went to something else. I want to say I went to Freevee next, and then Freevee just wouldn't load it. And then I went to, I think I ended up watching it on Tubi, and then it finally worked. But it was just like the weirdest, like trying to get a movie to start kind of thing.
Tubi has always been my safest bet trying to watch movies. Because what was the last app we were watching the last movie on?
Pluto.
That fucking sucked on ads.
But I've had fine experiences with Pluto. Like that was by far the worst one. I think.
Yeah.
It really depends on the movie. The more popular movies on there are probably fine, but that one really was milking it.
But Tubi's always been good to me as far as watching movies. Like there's only like 4 or 5 ads the whole time.
Yeah, Crackle and Freevee are too, but like this time they just shit the bed for me.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. But it was really fun. I really enjoyed the dynamic between the cops and the mobsters in this, where like, you know, the main cop, he was always just like pushing the mobsters around, and because he was a cop, they wouldn't like do anything about it, but he also wouldn't go too far with them. It was just a really fun dynamic where like the cop was doing this knowing that they wouldn't do anything, and the mobsters were letting it happen because they knew it wouldn't go too far. And if it did, they would probably do something. And it was just a really fun dynamic. A lot of badassery from both sides in this.
Yeah.
You know, obviously the most being Ma Dong-seok, who I learned went to college in Ohio, and that explains why he has a really good American accent or not American accent, but English-speaking accent in the Eternals. Just a little fun fact. That's not really anything to do with this movie.
So fun.
But I loved how in the beginning, when the main cop was trying to tell people that it was a serial killer, that the one response he got was, "This isn't the United States." I was like, damn, we got a real bad reputation around.
Yeah, it's just what we live by now.
It's true. It's honestly true. We got a lot of serial killers and a lot of guns, and not proud of it, but it's the way it is.
Yep. Yeah, I like the dynamic between the two because they're both like just straight dicks in their own field.
Yeah.
But they can come like a partner together for like another evil and like try to take it down. I thought that was pretty cool. Like they put aside their differences on how they feel about each other and just hunted this dude down, which was great because it made for just great scenes between the two and just between the gangs and the cops, just working together. Especially in like we could talk about it now a little bit. Especially in the scene, which I hate because it was very underwhelming. The scene when they find out that girl died, that the Ma Dong-seok's character gave the umbrella to, who's being kind to. I felt in the video that I watched, I felt like there was more like of a dynamic between them, and like they had more to talk about. And then like he's like, you know, stay in school, you know, just don't be dumb. And then like he just hands it to her. She gets on the bus and then leaves, and that's it. And then
it was literally just him being nice to a stranger.
Yeah.
And the sad part is that she was so young. Like it's not really sad because he was nice to her. It does show a little bit of character with him, where like, you know, it kind of shows that not everything's black and white. Not all criminals are just mean 100% of the time. You know, kind of poked fun at the cop where she said that the cop looked more like a thug than.
Yeah, because he was like, don't take the umbrella from strangers. Like that's you don't know who they could be. And she's like, you're acting more like a thug than he's actually being a thug.
Yeah, and because and you know, the trailer or the video on TikTok and Instagram suggests that there's more space in between those two moments. So like you think that there's like this buildup of things that would happen, but it's
literally side by side.
Yeah, side by side, and it happens so fast. And it's not a bad scene, but like whoever made that TikTok like over exaggerated it so much.
It feels like at least like it could be a 5 to 7 minute scene. Yeah. It's like a 3 minute scene, if that.
Yeah.
It's that quick, and it just happens so fast. And you're like, oh man! Like even if like they talked a little bit more, or if there was space in between, it definitely would have felt better.
Yeah.
Other than that, that's really like not the only flaw that I have with the movie. It's just super fun.
Expectations built by TikTok.
Yeah, just that expectation on just that scene kind of dampened it a little bit, but I mean, it was still a solid movie. Like, it definitely,
Absolutely.
just like from everything that I've seen, it felt more like it was going to be like a straight like thriller.
Yeah,
but there was a lot of this where it was like more action-y.
Yeah, it had a lot of great action sequences, which made me kind of think. There was one part in particular that made me think this. Like, have you ever just seen a stunt performed that you're just like, how is the
Are you
stunt
talking about the
performer
car door?
not dead? Yes.
Yeah.
How is he not dead?
That dude folded the hell in half.
How is he not dead?
Yeah,
I watched that and I'm like, there is no way that guy is okay. What the fuck are we doing?
I'm so glad that was
The
both
same
on our
one.
minds.
Yeah, but
I saw that and I was like, holy shit. And I actually thought in my head, I'm like, there's no way he doesn't have a broken rib or his spleen didn't exasperate out of his mouth.
Oh yeah,
in some sort
I
of
thought
way.
that at the very least he'd have a collapsed lung, if not like completely deceased, robbed of his life, as you mentioned earlier. And it was just, I'm sure the guy's fine. I'm sure he did get injured somewhere, but like I'm
professional stunt man. I hope he's fine.
If he was like seriously injured, they would not have kept that. Especially if he died. You know, there's kind of like this unwritten rule where if like someone's seriously injured or dies within a scene, you do not use that take.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some films that have broken that rule, but for the most part, that's what decent filmmakers would do.
Especially older films, probably.
Yeah, and there's just so many cool action sequences in this, and some that made me question if I just watched someone commit Sudoku or get Mordred.
Robbed of life.
Robbed of life. There we go. But yeah, it was a really fun movie. It kind of reminded me of like 80s or 90s action cop dramas in the States, but better.
Like it was made in like the late 2000s or something. But
yes.
It was one of those movies from the 80s.
Exactly.
Like it had that quality bump.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and of course with being South Korean, it has the style that South Korean films have that we're unfortunately, barren of in the States. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. I love the comparison throughout that like cops and criminals are kind of the same in a way. On major scales, I believe that. Obviously, I think small town cops have a lot of innocence to them, but like in big city police departments, they're admittedly kind of enabled to be that way. So I wouldn't say it's fully on the police officers. It's kind of systemic more than anything, but they really do have some criminal aspects to them. And anyone who doesn't think that is naive, really.
It's fun to live in the suburbs.
It is fun to live in the suburbs. Very underrated, in my opinion.
We get trees and buildings.
We don't have traffic. We have trees. We have yards. We don't pay $3,000 for a 700 square foot studio apartment. Actually, that's probably very big in New York.
Probably huge.
Yeah,
maybe 30 feet.
But my favorite quote in this is they were like everyone. I think it was right after he gives the umbrella to the girl and you're about to find out she died. One of them is doing a toast and he says, "Our dicks may be many, but we have one heart." What the fuck does that even mean?
I don't know, but I started drinking when it happened. I found a shot glass in my hand. I'm like, holy shit!
We are one heart that all pumps blood into our erections, is what it's essentially saying.
And at the end of that, I said amen, and I took that drink.
Yeah. And then the last thing I have to say is that I loved his shit-eating grin when he realized when they reveal that he's in the same prison as the killer.
Oh my god!
After the mobster is their last hope to put him behind bars and kill him legally. He kind of gives himself up in order to make sure that this killer is put behind bars. He says he'll only do it if they agree to put him in the same jail that the killer is in, and then that reveal as the killer's reading a book and he sees him just walk into the prison. fucking awesome. I
And
loved it.
It's so funny to like that scene is like the whole scene before that is that the killer had the shit-eating grin that he was going to get away with it,
Yeah.
and like he thought he was good, and then he quickly turned that upside down frown back to a frown. What would be a smile is the definition of that, I guess. But
Yeah.
turn that smile into an absolute. He's fucking scared for his life when he saw that dude. That, oh my god! I mean, I'd probably be shitting absolute bricks and building a house somewhere.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was shitting bricks and I was just sitting in my movie room watching it.
But yeah,
No.
this movie is solid. But like I said, it takes what is like a typical action film or like what could be here, and it feels like there's such passion to it and it just more meaning to it. Like it doesn't feel like a throwaway movie.
Yeah.
It's just genuinely fun. The action's great. The characters are great. The actors are great. The set design, the costume design. Whoever the costume designer was for Ma Dong-seok, holy shit, he looked good in those suits.
He looked like a Dapper Dan man. He don't want fop, god damn it. He's a Dapper Dan man.
That man was a god with his unbuttoned button-up shirt.
Oh yeah.
Holy Lord.
I
But
just
yeah.
know, like, if I dressed like that, I'd look like a slob. Like, we do not have the same build.
A slut and a slob, and I'm here for it. You should actually start wearing those more.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a surprisingly good movie. I knew it was going to be at least somewhat fun being South Korean and everything, but it definitely exceeded my expectations.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Is that all you got?
I think so.
All right, so that does it for our review of The Gangster, the Cop, the Devil. That brings us to the judgment. As always, needs to be unanimous decision whether or not it goes on the KFR shelf for the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden. Glenn,
was
you
weird.
picked this. Yeah, Glenn, you picked this. You want to know why that was weird? Well,
Yeah.
you can keep this in when you edit this. Caitlin made chicken and gnocchi for dinner, and I fucking love chicken and gnocchi. And this
Yeah.
is like the first time I've overeaten in about 6 months. So I'm struggling to breathe in general right now.
I'm jealous. That's all I gotta say.
It was banging. I gotta tell you, chicken and gnocchi is delicious. Anyway, yes. So Glenn, this was your pick. So does this become a little shelf boy?
That bad boy goes on. I mean, just the punches you feel in this movie from Ma Dong-seok's just right and left hooks. Dear God. No, but this was a great movie overall and just a good surprise.
Speaking of punches, can we talk about the introduction of his character where you think he's just training?
Yep.
He's doing boxing training, and then when the bag hits the floor, it starts bleeding, and they reveal that there's a guy in the bag.
Yep.
God damn.
Yeah, it's
This
a
goes
goddamn
on the
moment.
shelf. This goes on the shelf. It's that simple. So The Gangster, the Cop, the Devil does go on the shelf with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden. That brings us to our assignment for next week. It's Streaming Roulette Week. We love Streaming Roulette Week here because we don't have to pick a movie, and we like that.
We let the internet pick for us.
So, for those of you who don't know, we spin a very real wheel the size of Rhode Island that has every movie on every streaming service we subscribe to. We spin it 3 times, and then we pick the one that piques our interest the most. We have agreed that if a Korean movie comes up at all, we're going to watch it no matter what to keep the Korean streak going.
It's automatic at this point.
But we will not. I'm guaranteeing you that we're not going to keep spinning until we get one. We're only going to spin it 3 times.
Yep.
So, without any further ado, here comes the first spin. Scrooge, a Christmas movie. Fantastic. Great timing. This is going to be on
Which one?
on Paramount Plus. It's the 1971 version, not the animated one. I have seen this, by the way, because I was in a musical. I was in the stage version of it when I was in 8th grade. Played Ghost of Christmas Past. Yeah, Alec Guinness, Albert Finney, Scrooge. Come on. 1970 on IMDb. A musical retelling of Charles Dickens's classic novel about a bitter old miser. We know the
story.
Yeah, it's on Paramount Plus, Plex, and I think that's it. You can rent it on Amazon Prime for $4. Directed by Ronald Neame, written by Leslie Brighthus, and based on the book by Charles Dickens. Albert Guinness, Albert Finney, Alec Guinness, Edith Evans, Kenneth Moore, and that is Scrooge. I can guarantee you this probably will not be the one we watch because it's not Christmas anymore. Get out of here. Mm-hmm. Get out. Okay, here comes spin number 2. Little Women from 1949.
Oh my.
God damn it. Maybe we will pick Scrooge. This is going to be on
I've
HBO
never
Max.
seen any of the Little Women movies.
Really? The Greta Gerwig one's really good. This one's going to be on HBO Max. The 4 daughters of a New England family fight for happiness during and after the Civil War. Directed by Mervyn LeRoy. Written by Andrew Salt, Sarah Y. Mason, and Victor Heerman. It is starring June Allison, Peter Lawford, Margaret O'Brien, and Elizabeth Taylor, as well as several others. Janet Leigh's in there, which I believe is Jamie Lee Curtis's mother.
Oh.
I could be wrong about that. I'm probably wrong about that.
I think you're wrong about that.
Nope, I'm correct.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, that's Little Women. That is on HBO Max. That's spin number 2. Here comes spin number 3. Come on, give us something Korean, please. I want to keep this going. Nope, Whip It. I think you were talking about this movie in one of our old episodes, which I've been listening to because I'm putting them on YouTube. Whip It. That's going to be on HBO Max. In Bodine, Texas, an indie rock loving misfit finds a way of dealing with small town misery after discovering a roller derby league in nearby Austin. Directed by Drew Barrymore.
I forgot that Drew directed this.
Yeah. Written by Shauna Cross, starring Elliot Page, Drew Barrymore, Kristen Wiig, Sarah Habel, Shannon Egan, Jimmy Fallon's in there, Alia Shawkat's in there, Marcia Gay Harden's in there, Daniel Stern's in there. I'm just going through everyone I know. Yeah, so that is Whip It. That is what we got. Whip It, Little Women, and Scrooge. If I'm honest, I'm leaning Whip It personally myself.
Honestly, I'd like to rewatch that. This is one that I've been meaning to rewatch for a couple of years now.
Okay.
The only other one that I would be Little Women. But,
yeah. Scrooge is fine. It's a good musical. And I lived it for like 3 months, being on the stage version of it. It's not Christmas though. That's the main reason I don't want to watch that. But if you ever have a chance to, you should definitely watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd rather watch Whip It than Little Women if I'm honest. Personally speaking,
I think we've come to a decision.
We have. Unfortunately, our Korean movie streak dies with String Roulette. The internet has failed us.
This is some wrongdoing to the highest degree.
Some wrongdoing to the highest degree, indeed.
What is this? Roller derby?
Welcome to skate night at the warehouse.
The boys wanna be
Clean up on aisle 5.
I just want to tell y'all that you're my new heroes.
Well, put some skates on. Be your own hero.
The last time I wore skates, they had Barbies on them.
I want to be her. Yes, I do.
You could be our mascot.
This is, of course, going to be on HBO Max. And that's it. You can rent it on Amazon for $4 if you want. But that is Whip It, our assignment for next week. Thank you, everyone, for listening. As always, you can check out our website at www.keystonefilmreview.com. On Instagram, we are Keystone_film_review. Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Keystone Film Review. And on Letterboxd, I am Mike, KFR.
And I'm Glenn, KFR.
And that will do it until next week when we watch Whip It, which is a movie I have very specific memories of threading up in a film projector at United Artists Regal King of Prussia in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So this is just a movie I always considered a projection film.
Yeah.
Because I done did that.
I'm proud of you for it.
Well, goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.